We spoke about Mark Dunning, we've spoken about Bradford and what's going on there. What better man to speak on that than the man himself, Brian Noble? Come on in, jump on in. Brian, thank you very I like that sauntering. Right, hey, you've rehearsed that, haven't you?
I definitely did about 5 minutes ago. You saw me rehearse
I did. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
Better second time, though. And Brian, thank you for joining us. Can you just start by telling us exactly what it is that your role entails at Bradford?
Yes. First, I wash the bottles. I'm the chief bottle washer.
Gets paid a fortune for it as well.
Can I have that job?
They've both actually seen me do that regularly, so I get paid a fortune for that. But yeah, I'm overseeing. I'm a consultant at the moment, having a look at what the football department does. I think the thing that dragged me out of bed instantly was the fact that young Dunning is a Bradford boy, has taken the head coaching job, and these two have both alluded to the fact it can be a really lonely place unless you've got somebody to bounce some ideas off. Unfortunately, I've still got a few ideas that might be useful to him.
In terms of structure, you know, we're hearing a lot of rumours going around, and if they are to be true, there could be some significant restructuring in terms of rugby league in the very near future. What are your thoughts and opinions on that, Brian?
Well, we don't know, but my opinion is we need a structure that's attractive for the game and attractive for broadcasters and people who want to show all the great stories that we don't show about rugby league and all the great events and activities we see week in, week out that we know about. We need to showcase that right across the country. I think the structure is important in relation to what we see is attractive, not just for broadcasters, but for fans and community clubs. Everybody needs to have a place at the table, and everybody needs to have a say, but we've just got to infuse the game to a point where we think, when you look at it, you go, man, this has got a chance. I quite like that, and I quite like this, and I'm going to invest in it. And when we're talking about investors, that's what we have to do. We know out there, we've seen it today, and we see it every week. They're killing each other, these blokes, and women that play the game. Our game is a wonderful, I think it's the ultimate team combat sport, and we need to sell it in that respect and find a structure. As we did in '96, remember when Super League rebranded, there was so much euphoria and energy around for the next 5 and 6 years. And I think that's where I'd like the structure to get to. And would I like Bradford to be part of that? Of course I would. But there've got to be some rules and regulations, and somebody in there will have a plan as to how you do get in.
I was just going to touch on that. How important is it for you, Brian, that Bradford are a part of whatever the restructuring or potential restructuring is?
Well, you have to earn any place at the table. I think that's the first thing I'd have to say. Nobody's got a God-given right to be in there. The fact that Bradford's one of only 4 teams in 28 years to win Super League, and now they're part of the Championship, then everybody will have to earn their stripes. What are the reasons you get into this structure? What are the values that we place on being at the table, if you like, if that's the right expression? Some clever people out there with bigger brains than mine have got the answers to these questions, and they've got to come up with the right answers, because I think the game needs that lift and that colour. I'm going to use the word colour, that we all look at it and think, wow, that's bright pink, I'm in.
Absolutely. What do you think the potential is for Bradford Bulls? Because it's such a huge club historically. Where do you think the potential is there?
Well, I don't change my mind that Bradford's one of the only city clubs still playing the game of rugby league. Have a look around. I think it was a York, Leeds, I think. So it's had a presence, and you still mention the Bradford Bulls overseas and in different parts of the world, and they know who they are. So they've got a stamp and a brand that's recognisable. But that doesn't give you a right to be at the table. It's very disappointing what's going on this year. Everybody, I live in the city of Bradford, as does Leon, and people will tell you, they're not frightened to say, in words of probably a bit more colour than I'm going to use, they're not happy with what's going on. But
I was going to say, be careful, Brian.
My career ends here. Yeah, I just think you've got to plan for these things in football. You've got to understand what's going on. You've got to recognise what you've got, because at the end of the day, everybody wants to see a good rugby league team out there. They want to see their team winning, or at least rolling the sleeves up and having a dig at whatever level they're at. Do I think, this is my own personal opinion, Bradford deserves a place at the top table? Probably not in the current circumstances, but who does? So it's the criteria that we all have to learn from whoever makes that decision as to where you get in and how you get in. And then you got to pass the route. You got to pass your driving license before you've got one. You got to tick certain boxes, and once we know what all the boxes are to tick, then yeah, absolutely, of course, as a Bradfordian believe Bradford should be there. 10 greatest years of my life when I was there as a coach. So yeah, I think the game also has a great opportunity at the moment to do some restructuring and making it exciting for everybody, and that's for people in Leigh, that's for people in Wigan, that's been St Helens, Hull, in the northeast in Newcastle. We've got to get something where we go, I like that.
Well, I like your honesty. Thank you very much, Brian. I'm going to let you
You're
saunter
welcome.
back off the way you came on.
Thank you very much.
Off he goes. Thank you very much, Brian Noble there.